Here's a question I want you to answer honestly. And I mean honestly, not the answer you'd give your parents or your friends. Right now, today, if your car broke down, your phone died, and your landlord called about rent all in the same week, could you handle it? Not, I'd figure something out. Not, I'd put it on a card. I mean, do you actually have the money sitting there, ready to go? For most people watching this right now, the answer is no. And here's the thing, it's not because you're bad with money. It's because nobody ever showed you what money actually does at different levels. Nobody showed you the map. So today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going level by level, from $0 saved all the way to $100,000. And I'm going to show you what your life actually looks like, feels like, and costs you at every single stage. Stay until the end because level 4 is where something genuinely surprising happens, and most people never make it there. Welcome to Rich Life and Finance. I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of saving money. Not just the math, but why people stay stuck at the same level for years, even when their income goes up. If you're someone who feels like you're always one bad week away from financial disaster, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start at the bottom. And look, no judgment here. A 2024 Bankrate survey found that 56% of Americans could not cover a $1,000 emergency from savings, more than half. So if this is you right now, you are not alone and you are not broken. But here's what $0 in savings actually costs you that nobody talks about. It costs you decision-making ability. When you have nothing saved, every single financial decision you make is made under pressure. Your tire blows out, you're not thinking, what's the smartest move here? You're thinking, how do I survive the next 48 hours? And survival thinking is expensive. You take the payday loan, you overdraft the account, you skip the bill that has a grace period and pay the one that's screaming loudest. Here's a real number. The average overdraft fee in the US is $35. If you overdraft just twice a month, which is incredibly common at this level, that's $840 a year, just in fees, just for being broke. Here's what's wild. $840 a year invested from age 25 to 65 at 8% average return equals $219,000. You are literally paying a poverty tax that costs you $250,000 in future wealth. The psychological state at level 0? Constant low-grade anxiety. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about investing. You're thinking about Thursday. Your only job at level 0 is to create a $500 buffer. That's it. Not a 3-month emergency fund, just $500. Automate $25 a week from your paycheck before you ever see it. In 5 months, you've changed your entire psychological relationship with money. This is where something small but genuinely important happens. You stop reacting and start responding. Here's the thing most people don't realize. The difference between $0 and $1,000 saved is not just $1,000. It's the difference between a flat tire being a crisis and a flat tire being an annoying Tuesday. That psychological shift, it's enormous. Studies on financial stress show that people with even a small liquid cushion report significantly lower anxiety levels. Not because their life got easier, but because their brain stopped running emergency calculations 24/7. Now, you're not safe yet. A major medical bill, a job loss, a car transmission, any of those wipes you out. But you've broken the cycle of pure survival mode. When was the last time you made a financial decision from a place of calm instead of panic? Think about it. That's what this level gives you. The trap at this level? Lifestyle creep. You feel a little better, so you spend a little more. The $1,500 you saved slowly becomes $800 because you finally bought the thing you'd been putting off. This is where discipline isn't about being cheap. It's about protecting the version of yourself that finally has options. Don't touch this money. Label it in your bank account literally, do not touch. Some banks let you rename savings accounts. Use that feature. Make it feel like it doesn't exist. Okay, this is where the math starts to get genuinely interesting. $10,000 in savings for the average American represents roughly 2 to 3 months of living expenses. That's the classic emergency fund you've heard about. And yes, it matters. But here's what most people don't realize about this level. It's not just an emergency fund. It's a negotiating position. With $10,000 saved, you can quit a job you hate without having a new one lined up. You can negotiate your salary better because you don't need the offer desperately. You can take a week unpaid to interview properly. You can say no. A Harvard Business School study found that job seekers who were currently employed, meaning they had financial runway, received job offers averaging 17% higher than unemployed candidates for the same roles. Savings literally makes you more valuable on the job market. This is where the psychology shifts from "I'm surviving" to "I have some control." And that feeling of control changes how you show up everywhere, at work, in relationships, in how you spend. The mistake people make at this level? They stop here. They hit $10,000 and they feel done. They start spending more freely because they feel rich, and the account slowly drifts back to $3,000 and they wonder what happened. Here's the thing. $10,000 is not wealth, it's stability. And stability is the foundation, not the house. Once you hit $5,000, open a separate high-yield savings account, currently paying 4.5 to 5% APY. Move your emergency fund there. Your $10,000 now earns you $450 to $500 a year just sitting there. That's a free car payment.
Now we're getting somewhere. At this level, most people start to split into two very different paths, and which path you take determines almost everything about where you end up financially. Path A, you keep the money in savings, feel good about it, and slowly spend it down on lifestyle upgrades. New car, better apartment, nicer vacations. You feel wealthy, but you're actually just comfortable. Path B, you realize that money sitting in a savings account above your emergency fund is actually losing you money in real terms, and you start moving it. Let me explain that. If inflation is running at 3% and your savings account pays 4.5%, you're only ahead by 1.5%. That's fine for your emergency fund, but for money you won't touch for 5 or more years, the stock market has historically returned about 10% annually on average over long periods. The difference between 4.5% and 10% on $20,000 over 20 years is $61,000 just from choosing the right account. Here's the counterintuitive truth. The financially smartest thing you can do at this level is actually to stop saving and start investing. Yes, really. Saving more money into a savings account above your emergency fund is a mistake. This is the transition zone because this is where you have to change your identity. You stop being a saver and you start being an investor. Those are genuinely different psychological modes. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account. Every dollar above that threshold goes into a low-cost index fund, a total market fund or S&P 500 index fund. Set it up once, automate it, forget it. Okay, I told you to stay until level 4. Here's why. At this level, something happens that nobody prepares you for. And honestly, it's the thing that separates people who build real wealth from people who stay comfortable. Your money starts making more money than you expect it to. Let me give you a specific example. $35,000 invested in an S&P 500 index fund, left completely alone, no new contributions, for 25 years at the historical average of 10%, becomes $378,000. You didn't work for that $343,000 difference. You didn't hustle for it. You didn't think about it. It just happened because you did the right thing earlier. This is what compounding actually feels like when you're inside it. And here's what most people don't realize. You can't feel it happening. In year 1, your $35,000 earns $3,500. Boring. In year 10, it's earning $9,000 a year. Still feels slow. But in year 20, it's earning $22,000 a year. And by year 25, it's earning $34,000 a year, almost as much as your original investment, every single year, automatically. This is why financial advisors say time in the market beats timing the market. Every year you wait to start doesn't just cost you 1 year of growth. It costs you the compounding on that year for the next 20 or more years. A 25-year-old who invests $5,000 and never invests again will have more at 65 than a 35-year-old who invests $5,000 every single year for 30 years. The math is brutal. The psychological challenge at level 4, watching the market drop. You now have real money at stake,
$40,000, $45,000, and when the market drops 20%, that's a $9,000 paper loss. This is where most people panic and sell. This is where most people destroy their own wealth. The people who build real wealth treat a market drop like a sale at their favorite store. Everything they planned to buy anyway just got cheaper. Write down your investment plan now, before the next crash. If the market drops 20%, I will buy more, not sell. Put it somewhere you'll see it. Future you will thank present you.